Why is your yacht not parked next to mine? Ask yourself that. Not as a joke, not as a fantasy, as a brutal question. Because you sit there laughing at the system, mocking the system, calling it corrupt, calling it stupid, but you are still trapped inside it. So who is really winning? If the people you call idiots still control your life, what does that make you? This is your last chance. That is not drama. That is not hype. That is the truth. You need to work harder now than ever before. Because all that fantasy, all that childish hope that some leprechaun was going to turn up with gold, it's over. You can't even find a leprechaun, let alone get one to save you. You do not stand a chance of escaping this system, using the old paths. Not through traditional education, not through a degree, not through buying your first home, not through getting a job and hoping. Those roads do not lead where you think they lead. I understood this early. I was 16 years old, walking to college with friends. A red Ferrari flew past, and I remember thinking, how does a man have that kind of money for a car when none of our families even have cars? That moment mattered, because back then, I had not seen money before. Not real money. No internet. No private jets. No Monaco. No yachts. No world of excess laid out on a screen. Just broke. Completely broke. And the first time I visually saw wealth, I knew I could not live like a second-class citizen anymore. That is when the test begins. Because money is a competency test. That is what it is. You have to want it. Really want it. Because you do not get anything in this life that you do not truly want. The addict wants money for his vice, and somehow he finds it. Every day. No job, no stability, still gets money. Why? Because he wants it enough. And you say you want to get rich, but you do not want it enough. That is why you are still where you are. If you want to get rich, I absolutely believe you can. You have the entire world at your fingertips. And still, you are not motivated. Still, you are not willing to try something new. Still, you are not prepared to move. And you think you work hard because you go to your job every day. No, you are often lazy in a far worse way, because you would rather do the same thing all day, every day, than think outside the box. You are so lazy. You would rather grind yourself down in a safe prison than risk trying something different. That is laziness too. Wanting things means nothing. Everybody wants things. Dedication is action. That is the difference. When you dedicate yourself to something, that is when the universe starts to move. That is when God gives it to you. Not when you talk. Not when you dream. When you act. So let me tell you the truth. Unless you hate being broke, you will never be rich. Because most poor people say they want to be rich, but they are actually comfortable being poor most of the time. They will try for 3 days. Then what? Back to the games. Back to cheap food. Back to sitting around with friends. Back to comfort. Most of the time, they are perfectly fine exactly where they are. That is why they stay there. They do not hate it enough. When I was broke, I could not sleep. Permanent insomnia, because I knew there had to be a way out. I knew I was missing something. That is the difference. Unless you hate being poor, you will never love being rich enough to get there. And this gets even uglier. Because as a man, if you want your love to mean anything, you need to be capable. That is how the world works. A broke, weak, useless man says to a woman, "I love you." Why doesn't she care? Because it means nothing. If she needs help, you cannot help. If she needs protecting, you cannot protect. If she has a problem, you cannot solve it. So your love means nothing. But when a strong, rich, important man says it, it matters. Because he can do something with it. He can back it up. He can carry weight. So when a man says, "I love my family," but he is broke and wasting time and not trying, no, not really. Because if you really loved them, you would be trying with everything in you to become as capable as possible. If you loved them, you would be working your ass off. Love without strength, without provision, without protection, means nothing in a man's world. You are not allowed to talk to me about love if you cannot take care of the people you claim to love. If you want to tell a woman you love her and actually mean it, get big, get strong, get rich. If you want to tell your parents you love them and help them relax in old age, get capable. Everything comes back to that. And loyalty? What is loyalty worth from a weak man? You say you are loyal? Fine. We are attacked in the street. I am getting stabbed. You are standing there shaking. What does your loyalty mean then? Nothing. It is worthless. That is why if you are not permanently trying to become stronger and richer, you are not even capable of love or loyalty in any real sense. And understand this clearly. You do not need money so you can smoke cigars on private jets. That is not why. You need money so you are finally useful to the people you care about. I can sit in economy. I don't care. I am a grown man. What matters is not me. What matters is being able to put the woman I love on a private jet. What matters is being able to get my children to me quickly so I can spend one more hour with them. What matters is if my mother has a heart attack, I can get the best surgeon alive. What matters is if someone I love dies, I can give them dignity. That is what matters. I do not care about luxury for luxury's sake. I care about being useful. Because when I was broke, I was not useful. That is what hurt. Seeing people I cared about struggle and not being able to do anything about it. You think I care about watches, cars, big houses? No. I care about not being so monumentally incompetent that the people who rely on me are exposed to danger because I was too weak to make money. What happens when your woman has to stand in the street waiting? What happens when she is exposed to the world because you could not provide better? What are you going to say if something happens? I still loved you? Clearly not enough. Because if you loved her enough, you would have dedicated yourself to becoming rich enough to prevent it. That is the truth. Poor men, useless men, incompetent men. Their love means nothing. Their loyalty means nothing. If you cannot provide, protect, take care of people, then your words are empty. So if you wake up every day without the dedication to get rich, without the fire to become capable, what are you? You are either useless, or you are the kind of man who will do anything necessary to win, because you understand your obligations. That is what being a man is. Obligation. You are obligated to protect, obligated to fight if needed, obligated to provide. You do not get to opt out. And for that reason, you need to get rich. Not for yourself, for everybody else. That is when life changes. That is when people finally look at you with respect. That is when women look at you differently. That is when important men respect you. That is when your family feels pride. That is when you finally matter. It is your job. It has always been your job, since the beginning of time, to wake up, dedicate yourself, and become capable. The average person thinks, my life is going to be fine. No, they are in for a rude awakening, because the average person is becoming obsolete. That is what is happening. And it is only going to get harder to matter at all if you are not exceptional. Soon enough, you will not drive where you want. You will not eat what you want. You will not live how you want. And the average man will have no way to resist. The only chance you have is exceptionalism. That means you do not have time to sit around talking about your feelings. You wake up and say, this is almost impossible, and I'm doing it anyway. Now here's the practical part. You need to build a life that creates fire inside you every day, so you never again ask about motivation. That starts with your social circle. You need hungry men around you, driven men, men who are going somewhere. It continues with your decisions, because whether you know it or not, you have been programmed. Winners are programmed. Losers are programmed. And most of you were programmed badly. That is why self-analysis matters. Most men never look in the mirror and ask, how did I end up here? Why do I think like this? Why do I believe what I believe? They do not study themselves, so they never understand their own mind. And if you do not understand your own mind, you cannot understand why your life is the way it is. Before you move on the chessboard, you need to analyze the board. If you are poor, at least you should have hunger. So use it, and then fix what you lack. Get around rich people. Build a network. Find a teacher who understands money, and then fix your biggest flaw. Your laziness, your fear, your cowardice. You need to ignite the fire inside you, like a poor man's hunger. Because the poor understand something you often don't. what it feels like to have nothing. What happens when there is no money and no food? You have food in your fridge. You have comfort, so you lack urgency. That is why your contentment will not come from fun. It will come from purpose, from competence, from accomplishing difficult things. Happiness for a man is in struggle. The size of the struggle and how deeply it matters to you will determine how alive you feel. So stop chasing fun. You do not need fun. You need duty. You need discipline. You need obligations. You need standards. You are not important yet. Nobody knows your name yet. You are not strong enough, not wealthy enough. You have bigger concerns than entertainment. And the average guy says, "I'm just average." Then stop. Stop being average. Because just going to work and obeying the rules is not going to make you rich. You will be taxed into the dirt and left there. It is going to get worse. The rich will get richer. The poor will get poorer. The system can still be cracked, but only if you take responsibility. Because nobody else is waking up thinking about making you rich. If you do not wake up every day and say, "I need to get rich," then no one says it. Nobody. And I always knew. I never doubted. The man in the Ferrari was not better than me. Maybe smarter. Fine. Then I would outwork him. That is the answer. Not arrogance. Work. Because I have never seen a man who truly tries his absolute best to become the strongest, richest, most capable version of himself and does not eventually get what he wants. Smart people are broke. Dumb people are rich. Why? Because it is not about IQ. The reason most people are not rich is arrogance. They think they deserve more without becoming more. That is why they lose.